Hello everyone, welcome back to Be the Whole You. My name is Gullveig. So this new moon in Aquarius, I am super excited to talk about. If you've been feeling stuck, if there's been a lot of lethargy, if you're facing a lot of challenges, I think that there's going to be some messages that are going to unfold in our time together here that are going to be very, very helpful. And I say that because many of the alignments here that we're going to be covering, we'll get to the tarot in a second to get some additional information, but a lot of these alignments are really empowering. Like, I feel like there's like a real opportunity for a fresh start. So right off the bat, the new moon and the sun are both at 1 degree in Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign of reinvention, renewal, new perspectives, thinking outside of the box. And then we have the rising sign. The rising is in Libra at 0 degrees. And this is inviting us for renewal. Like 0 is the number of the Fool card in the tarot, and it's where the journey begins. So the rising sign in Libra is giving us objectivity. Libra is associated with the scales, justice. Libra is about balance. And I always look at Gemini and Libra as being both like almost like sisters, right? So, or brothers or whatever, they're siblings, right? Because Libra, they both want balance, but Gemini will play with the extremes to figure out what the balance is, whereas Libra usually takes more of a middle ground and is kind of almost like a surfer, right? Where they're always like minute adjustments to stay balanced. And so we have the 0 degrees in Libra, where what's coming to me around that is like the Justice card, where it's objectivity. We can pull our own agendas and our own ego back a bit and get a better, more fresh perspective. And 0 is like the cosmic egg. So there is this opportunity for new seed, new growth, gestating, nurturing something that is new. So this is, and we're going to talk even more about some of these other, you can tell I'm like super excited about this. I'm like, there's just so much. So there's all of these other planets that are coming up that are also about reinventing oneself. Ugh, so good. So we also have Pluto that's conjuncting at 28 degrees in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the sign of the doer. And Pluto is the planet of life and death. So we're being invited to take a practical approach with our transformation. And so the transformation, and for each of us, there's a very good chance that it's going to be affecting our practical everyday circumstances, our job, our home, our identity. I think our identity is a big one here. We're going to get more into that in a second. Our relationships, our relationship with money, wealth, careers, children, our home. We may actually, if we're not actually moving, it may be something like we either renovate, remodel, fix, repair, something of that nature. So, and this is also allowing us to let go of some things that maybe don't serve us. So even if we don't take the full-on action and the rebirth happens in this lunar cycle, some of the things that might come up might be something that might affect us for the next 6 months. So for example, you might, during this new moon, have an epiphany that you want to live in another city or another state or just in another zip code, and then this would be the time in which you would start doing the research and setting up the cosmic egg, right? The seeds, to like, okay, well, what do I need to know in order to make this happen? What do I need to do? What are the, who do I need to communicate with? Do I need to find a realtor? Do I need to find a different job? So on and so forth. This is a really good moon to start planning, start renovating our life, reinventing our life. We also have Mercury at 8 degrees in Capricorn, again, the number 8. So we had Pluto conjunct what I just talked about at 28 degrees. 2 plus 8 equals 10, which 1 plus 0, it reduces down to 1. So again, we see the number 1, which is associated with the sovereign self. It's associated with the Magician card in the tarot. The Magician is the self-made person. They have everything that they need, even if sometimes they don't know it. But they have everything that they need. They have their wand, they have the pentacle, they have the sword, they have the cups, they have everything at their disposal, and they are able to create and manifest whatever it is that they want in their life. And 2 is relationship. And again, we have 8, which is about cycles, and it's associated with the strength card in the tarot. This very much, everything, I mean, this is probably going to come up in the tarot. Everything about this is about allowing the shadow side of the ego, the fear, the doubts, the what I call the itty bitty shady committee. We all have them. The what ifs, the should haves, the past disappointments, the wanting to micromanage and control our life. Like, all of these are shadow sides of the ego. And we're being invited to allow that to take a back seat so that the higher self can give us the objective point of view and the directions needed in order to make tangible, real change in our life. And that's the strength card. The strength card has the lady who's petting the lion, and that represents the divine highest self taming, domesticating the ego. The ego is just a vehicle so that our soul can have its own unique experience as a individual, as a separate being. However, it's not what we are. And this new moon is really giving us an opportunity to expand what we think we are and who we think we are. Then we have Mercury. Okay, we already talked about Mercury at 8 degrees. Let's get back to that. So Mercury at 8 degrees in Capricorn. Mercury is finally direct, folks. Oh, thank God. This Mercury retrograde was a doozy. Here in the United States, Southwest Airlines, the very first week of this Mercury retrograde, they had like this meltdown where like 30,000 30,000 travelers were grounded. And I mean, it was like this whole like debacle, right? I mean, that's just an example on like a big scale what this Mercury retrograde was all about. It was a very powerful Mercury retrograde to get clarity on what's not working. And now this new moon can give us the objectivity. It's like, okay, you know what's not working. And perhaps you might even have some clarity on what it is that you need to do to move past some of the not workingness. And now the new moon is giving us a chance to make new plans. Again, it's 8. And again, this is about coming from the higher self. Then we have Jupiter in Aries at 4 degrees. So we just talked about the sovereign self when we talked about the magician. Aries is the sign of the sovereign self. Aries teaches us the role of the self, and it honors the self and the unique needs that each individual has. And it's at 4 degrees, so this is about building new foundations. And Jupiter is known as being like the Santa Claus of the zodiac, right, or the planets. And so it comes in with luck. It's allowing us to expand. Jupiter expands anything it touches. So it's allowing us to expand our point of view of what is it that supports you. And what new foundation do you need with this new persona that you might be creating, this new life that you might be planting the seed for? And then there is Black Moon Lilith. This is a part of the sky that I don't talk a whole lot about, but in this particular new moon, she does play a very powerful role. She's at 1 degree in Leo. Again, we have 1 and 8 coming up again because Leo is associated with the strength card in the tarot again. And so, and Leo is about self-confidence, and it's about our will. It is about our ego as well. But if it's in balance, then it can be the tool that it's meant to be versus being like the ego being the total sum of what and who we are, which is oftentimes where we get into trouble. And with it being at 1, again, it's about the sovereign self. So Black Moon Lilith is the duality of this particular lunar alignment that's going to bring up, it's going to wake up the itty bitty shitty committee. She's going to come in with her sound alarm, and the self-doubts and the fear and all the things are going to come up. And they're coming up in order to be healed. So if there have been, or if there will be some resistance to doing the things that in your heart you know you need to do, that resistance is not indicative that you're on the wrong path. In fact, the resistance is more likely an indication that you're on the right path, because if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So I'm just going to let that sink in. That a lot of times the things that we're most scared of are the things that we need the most. And the reason why they scare us is because they are requiring an egoic death. And that is what this new moon is all about. It's about allowing the old definition of ourselves to fall away so that we can rise once again, more empowered, allowing our brilliance to shine more confident, and more clear on what it is that we want to share with the world. Because the world needs whatever medicine it is that you have, whether it be just a kind word to somebody who's having a bad day, whether it be getting on a YouTube channel, whether it be writing a book, whether it be a song, music, whatever it is, you have something within you that the world needs. And this new moon is giving us a chance to up-level that. So, the only other thing I wanted to talk about is the trine with Mars in Gemini at 8 degrees. Again, number 8, yo. It's coming up again. This can be used in 2 different ways. Mars is a very dualistic planet because it's about passion and it's also about war. So we can use Mars there. It's that just fiery action, passion. We can use Mars energy to give us more tenacity to overcome the doubts and the fears that might arise. The other piece of that, though, is that if we're more committed to the fears than we are to the possibilities, then Mars might create a lot of friction internally. It'll just be like itchy, and we might find ourselves like coming up with like kind of, it'll come out in like these irritable ways where we're really aggressive. So be aware of that. And if there's irritability that comes up, if you start noticing that you're really short-tempered, back up and ask what's really going on here. Is there something that within yourself that's wanting to come through, and there's a part of you that's resisting it and that's causing tension? That is a possibility here. So just be aware of that. And we can use that as actually a litmus test to make sure that we're like in the right spot. So with that being said, all of that, let's take a look and see what the tarot has to say. So we're going to take a look and get some more specifics on what it is that we need to know or do to utilize this new moon in Aquarius, January 2023, to serve our best and highest good. And I invite you to set the intention for yourself that the parts of this reading that pertain most importantly to your situation, your circumstances, that those messages are going to be highlighted for you, that it's going to be kind of like an intuitive, like ding, 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 that one's for me. So just set that intention for yourself. All right, let's get started. Okay, what do we need to know or do to best use the energy of this new moon in Aquarius, January 2023? right, we have 4 cards that come up. Oh, my friends. Wow, okay. So I'll just give you an overview first of what the cards that came up. The very first card that comes up is the World card. This is about completion. It is about harvesting. It comes up when we're definitely at the end of a cycle. So if this last blip, this last phase of your life has been really challenging, it's coming to a close. And we talked about the Magician, we talked about Sovereign Self, and then the Magician card comes up. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. I promise this is random, or seemingly random. And it's very interesting. The Magician card is the card number 1. So he's got everything that he needs. He's got his sword, he's got his pentacle, he's got his cup, he's got his wand. And in this card, he's looking down at his spell book and he's, figuring out what to do with them. He can do whatever he wants with these things. There are so these symbols represent all of the elements. It represents the fire, air, water, earth. It represents all of everything. He could literally make whatever it is that he wants. So there's a real sense of freedom with this new moon. I think a lot of us are going to like this. King of Pentacles, it's about wealth, yo. So there is going to be some major changes in how we attract or relate to wealth and money, career, job, right livelihood. And what I mean by right livelihood is the way that we create our living is in alignment with our passions, it's alignment with our purpose, and we feel fulfilled as a result of that. That is what, and what's also interesting too that comes to me is that in this particular card, you can see that the bull's in the background. And I look at that as a symbol of Taurus. And Taurus is the zodiac sign that is associated with the planet Venus. So it's associated with wealth, it's associated with luck. Also, Taurus is very much about hearth and home and comfort and beauty. So all of those things will come up as what priority does luxury, beauty, your home, have these things been in the background for a while, and do they need to come forward? And the work here that is needed to be done to make the best use of it, we have the 6 of Cups reversed. So this tells me that there's some inner child healing that needs to be done. We have 2 children on this card here, and when it's right side up, it's about the inner child. It's about playfulness, it's about creativity, it's about joy, it's about that sense of wonder. And we have this individual in the background who is like the guardian, who's making sure that they're safe in all of their exploration. But when it's upside down, it means that there has been some lack of that creativity, that joy. And one other thing I want to talk about as far as the inner child is when I help folks with inner child healing, there are often 2 different parts of the inner child. We have the ushy squishy, vulnerable part of the inner child, which is the joy, the creativity, the fun, the sense of wonder. And then there's oftentimes what I call the protector. And the protector is the part of our consciousness that leverages shadows in order to protect the ushy gushy center. And these are oftentimes maladaptive behaviors or beliefs or mechanisms that at one point in time may have kept us very safe. So for example, trust issues is a big part of the protector usually, where they might sabotage relationships, they may sabotage our ability to be seen. We may hold ourselves back with our self-expression because of these trust issues. And what the protector is trying to do is trying to keep ourselves from being seen or heard in order to be smaller, to protect that ushy-gushy center. And this isn't necessarily anything that's wrong. Almost all of us have it. I think all of us have a protector. And we may need to have some one-on-one conversations with the protector and ask them what it is that they need to feel loved, supported, and integrated, and take that role as the conscious guardian, because this is you in the background here as the adult. You're the conscious adult who now can reparent yourself and can give them the protection, the safety, the support that the Ushi-Gushi Center needs, and at the same time still be self-expressed, because now you have more volition over your life than you did when you were a child. So there's a lot of stuff probably from childhood that might come up according to the Six of Cups. And like I said, the fear, the resistance is not an indication that you're on the wrong path. It's actually more likely an indication that you are doing that your path is big enough to require an egoic upgrade. Whew. Thank you so much for joining me here. I am super excited about this new moon. For me personally, it feels like a breath of fresh air. I know that for myself, it has given me a lot of clarity. I highly recommend doing journaling during this time. And if you are needing a session to help with some of the nuances of inner child healing and navigating through the parts of ourselves that may be in resistance to this upgrade, or you're looking for a personalized reading, head on to my website at www.BeTheWholeYou.com, and I'd be glad to be of assistance. Many blessings to all of you. Love you all, and enjoy this new moon.